In today's video, we're going to be having a look at how we can make use of this little device to track our pets in Home Assistant. We're going to be running through a full setup and install, and if you stick around till the end, I'll be showing you some of the automations that I've been making use of with this device. Check it out. What's going on, guys? I hope you're all doing well. In update 2021.9 for Home Assistant, there was an integration added for this little device known as Tractive. If you didn't know, Tractive are a company that create GPS tags and collars which allow you to track your pets in real time. They create a whole bunch of different tags, collars and accessories for both dogs and cats. And if you've been watching my videos for a little while now, then you'll know that this is my dog Casper and he's a bit of an escape artist. So any real chance that Casper gets, he'll just bolt, he'll run after the neighbour's cat, or he'll run down to the river or to one of the neighbouring fields. So I just needed some kind of a way to track him just in case he ever does run too far. And when I saw this thing and saw that it integrated into Home Assistant, I obviously did the same thing that every other Home Assistant user does, and I had to get it. So essentially what this thing is just a small battery-powered GPS tracker that you can attach to either your cat or dog's existing collar, and it will allow you to track your pet in real time by using the Tractive tracking service. And the actual tracker that we're looking at today is this, the Dog Tracker 4. Full transparency as always, I did in fact reach out to Tractive to inquire about the dog tracker, and they kindly sent me the Dog Tracker 4 for free, as well as a 3-month subscription to their live tracking service. However, I was never paid or asked to create the video, so everything you see in this video are my own thoughts and opinions. And with that said, let's carry on with the video. So here in the UK, the Dog Tracker 4 costs just under £45, but in addition to the tracker, you're also going to need a subscription service. With the subscription services, you've got the choice of 2 different tiers. Each tier is then broken down into their annual and monthly costs, as well as all the different perks that you get with each one. I think for most people, the basic version will be enough, but if you're one of those people that travels and takes the pets with you, you might want that premium service because that gives you the worldwide coverage, so you can track your pet in other countries. And yes, if you're not a dog person, you can get the cat edition of the tracker. With the tracker and a valid subscription, you're going to get access to live GPS tracking, and this is going to let you see where your pet is in real time by use of the Tractive app. Within the app, you can set up what's known as virtual fences, which are essentially user-defined spaces drawn onto the map, and if your pet leaves this defined space, then you'll get a push notification. Within the app, you also get access to activity monitoring, which will tell you things like how much exercise your dog's had that particular day compared to other days. You can also view how many calories they've had, and you can also share that information with other people so you can see which dog is the most active within your local area. You can also view the location history and see some really cool heat maps to see where your dog was throughout the day. So those are pretty much the main features of the app and the tracker, but by making use of Home Assistant, we can actually pull that information straight into our Home Assistant. There's going to be a few bits of information that we can't get that you can get in the app, but there are workarounds for it. So for example, the virtual fences, you can't pull those into Home Assistant, but if you're already making use of zones within Home Assistant, then you've pretty much got those anyway. If you really wanted those specific virtual fences within Home Assistant, you could just manually copy the coordinates of the virtual fences and just convert them directly into zones within Home Assistant. Some of the other features that are missing from the integration, but they're available in the app, are things like the calories burned and the heat maps. Now, the heat maps isn't such a big one because you can actually swap your map view to see where your pet was throughout the day. All you're really losing is just that fancy graphic. And calories burned, I'm imagining, can be just added in a future update. Now let's have a look at what you get in the box and how you set it up in Home Assistant. The Dog 4 tracker comes in some very simple packaging. It's got a nice Tractive themed box, and it also tells you that it's compatible with Android and iOS. And on the back, it lists some of the countries that it's compatible with. Inside the box, you'll find the Dog 4 tracker along with the proprietary magnetic USB charging cable. The magnetic cable simply connects to the tracker in order to charge it. In addition to this, you'll find some contact labels, a quick start guide, and some GPS safety information. To get started with the tracker, you can use either the Tractive web client or the Tractive mobile app. For this demo, I am going to be using the Tractive mobile app. The setup for the tracker is very straightforward, and you should have it up and running in about 5 minutes. You're going to first need to download the mobile app, and it's available on both iOS and Android. You're then going to need to create yourself a Tractive account and then give the app any permissions it needs, so things like Bluetooth, location, and push notifications. You'll then just need to follow the rest of the on-screen instructions, which will have you connect your tracker to your newly created account, and you'll do this by entering the ID code off the back of the tracker into the app. And finally, you'll just need to create a pet profile to tie to the tracker, and this will contain information about your pet, such as its breed, how much it weighs, when its birthday is, and what its traits are. And then that information can be used to set activity goals for your pets. You can then go on to set up things like virtual fences and other app specific things, but at this point now, the tracker should be active and working, and you should be able to add it into Home Assistant. And just to reiterate, to now get this tracking information into Home Assistant, we're going to have needed to set up the tracker with either the web client or the mobile app, and we're then going to need to connect that tracker to our account, and our account will also need to have a valid subscription to the Tractive service. And if yours is, then you're going to be good to go. So let's go ahead and press that add integration button in the bottom right there. We're then going to do a search for Tractive, and we're just going to select it. And from here, we're going to want to enter our email address and password for our Tractive account. So go ahead and enter your Tractive details and just press submit. Once you've done that, you should see the success message appear, and you should see any trackers that you've got linked to your Tractive account. And from here, we can choose to assign this to a specific area, but for now, I'm just going to hit finish. And I can now see my new Tractive card just here, showing one device and one entity. Now that we've got that added in, let's have a quick look at some of the information that we can get from this device. So we're just going to select it there. And then from here, I can see a bunch of bits of information about the tracker itself. So I can see its current firmware version. I can see the battery level of the tracker. I can see what Casper's daily goal is. And then I can see how many active minutes he's had out of that goal. And then finally, I can actually see the location of him. With this location, you can actually also view the GPS coordinates, but I'm not going to be sharing that with the YouTubes. By default, the tracking entity here uses the device ID as its name, so if you wanted to, you could change the name of that up at the top there to make it more friendly. And once you've named it, you can start making use of these entities within your automations. If you make use of the Home Assistant maps, you can actually add that tracking entity to the map, and then as it moves, you'll see it move on the map. And that's been a little look at what this tracker is, how to set it up, and how to add it into Home Assistant. But before we wrap this up, I'm just going to share with you 3 quick automations that I've been using with this tracker. The first one then is what I call the anxiety automation. So with me and my wife both being home a lot because of the pandemic, Casper's kind of built up a bit of an anxiety. So now if we both leave, he just cries a lot and it kind of bugs the neighbours. So I've set up an automation, so if it detects that we both leave and Casper's still at home, then it will play some music and do other bits around the house, just so he doesn't feel like he's on his own. And it will mix things up to keep him on his toes, and it will do things like turn on the TV and put on his favourite YouTube channel. Mark What Tech, obviously. And it will also periodically play bits of music and also send out the robot hoovers to clean. The next automation is again based on if Casper's at home by himself. So what this one does is it checks an input boolean to see if guest mode is enabled. If guest mode isn't enabled and Casper's at home by himself, it will disable any of the motion triggered lights. So that way, if he's walking around, it's not constantly turning on and off lights. And the final automation then is based on the tracker's battery. So when Casper returns from a walk, his status should change from away to home, and when this happens, it does a little check to see what the battery level is, and if it's below 10%, it just sends me an alert to put the tracker on charge. And there we go, that's the Tractive Dog 4 and some of the automations that I make use of. If you want to see some more information about this tracker and see my full written review where I delve into the more technical features and some of the pros and cons of it, then I'll be sharing my written review in a blog post very soon. If you've got any cool pet-based automations or make use of any other trackers within Home Assistant, then let me know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video and found it interesting, don't forget to drop me a like, and if you're not already, hit that subscribe button and ding dong the notification bell. You'll then be alerted to any future video that I do. As always, a massive thank you to these awesome dudes. These awesome dudes are my Patreons. If you're interested in supporting my channel and becoming one of these awesome dudes, then there'll be a link to my Patreon in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.